Thank you. My name is George. You could call me George, that's fine.
Okay.
I work in Denmark the last 30, 35 years. I have a strong coffee connection with Uganda, and I'm born and raised in Zimbabwe, and I've lived in New Zealand many years. So, I have a sample here, which I would like you to look at, and then give it further to the next person, because it shows the different stages of the coffee that I've been working with. The coffee that I've been working with is Robusta, canephora variety Robusta, because it has been a challenge. I've been talking to a lot of people, and they say, Robusta coffee? No, no, no. It tastes bad. And then I think, if people say it tastes bad, why is there nobody trying to do something about it to improve the taste of the Robusta coffee? So I took up the challenge, and while I'm speaking, you can yeah, I have to put my glasses on. Pop, pop. I looked at the process. Oh, sorry. Is there a microphone? Do you want
You can take one here.
Is it on?
Yes.
I thought about improving the taste of the Robusta. Looking at the current post-harvest processes. And I looked especially at wet washing. And we discussed this at the end, but it's the process that we started. We looked at the wet washing, the volumes of water that are used, and the consequences of pollution. And when the process works in the harvest season, and it is idle in the other times of other months of the year. And the wastewater, how do they get rid of the wastewater that is generated from the process? That was the point. We wanted to do something about most of these issues that are listed out there. And then this is just to show the coffee plants, how they look like the Robusta coffee plant. When we had we had to establish the parameters of the post-harvest process, and it took a lot of experiments, 40 to 50, I think it was, but we had to do it systematically. That means we had to find out which bacteria or microorganisms that were on the samples of the coffees that we are going to work with. And the coffees are natural dried Robustas, which we obtained from Masaka district in Uganda. And then we thought, okay, there's so many different species of bacteria or the fungi, and so we had to actually do something, look at the production of aflatoxins after we were finished with the with the fermentation process. My English is not good at the moment, but I speak mostly Danish. So we looked at the presence of aflatoxins that were produced after whether there were any aflatoxins in the coffees that we had fermented. The background is we found so many aspergillus species, as you saw before, and the other one there, because they're capable of producing aflatoxins. So we looked at we did actually analyze for acratoxins, as mentioned by, I can't remember your name. Yeah, okay. You can see the very low qualities. The content is quite low. There are actually limitations of the presence of aflatoxins in the food and food processes that are imported in Europe and USA, which the limit is 4 micrograms per kilo. And you can see that is a very low measurement. And this is what you'll be looking at, the little samples that are circulating now. So these were done the roasting was done by a special, a roaster, a specialist. This is the raw product that came from Mhlanga district, Robusta. And the second one is how the beans look like after we have processed them. And after they've been processed, we sent them to some specialist to evaluate the coffee beans, the coffee, actually, of the Robusta coffee. That was in Zurich, the Coffee Quality Institute, there were 3 Q graders, independent 3 Q graders that evaluated the coffee. And that was the result, which is surprisingly quite high. And we also sent this, a different batch to Innova Consult, a company in Denmark, who evaluated the sensory profile of the roasted coffees at the different stages, freshly ground coffee beans, and the coffee while is brewing, and then the taste and mouthfeel, as you can see at the bottom there. When we have been working with these, and we established the parameters of the post-harvest process, it only took 48 hours to process the beans. And at the end of the 40 hours, there's signs of spearing, where you could see the beans actually were starting to spear, which indicated that there were biochemical processes that were actually happening inside the process. That means when beans are starting to germinate, then they begin breaking down molecules, and polysaccharides become disaccharides, monosaccharides that can be used in metabolism by the plants. And one of those, you can see the last one, the mouthfeel. There's a sweet taste when you have tasted the coffee. If you drink water after, then it tastes sweet, which is actually an indication of the metabolism that is occurring during the spearing process. The harvesting post-harvest process, it set us, it set our minds to think, how does it make an impact on the farmers? The impact, the different aspects that would be raised, the questions, because we're going to use very little water. We use 3 to 4 cubic meters of water to produce 1 cubic meter of coffee beans, to process 1 cubic meter of coffee beans. Wet washing, it depends on what stage, fully washed or semi-washed. You have 14 to 20 cubic meter of clean water that is needed for processing, which actually means that the volume of the wastewater is also quite high. But when we use, in our process, we use 3 to 4 cubic meters of clean water, and we produce about a third of that as wastewater. Or when you look at the pollution, wet washing, you remove the cherries, the berries, you process the whole berries, and these are crushed and mixed with water, and then they go to the separation tank. And the water that you've used contain a lot of pollutants, which would be quite hard to clean or to remove. We are working with the natural coffee beans. That means the hulls have been removed. It's just the dry beans. The beans have been dried, the fresh beans, sun dried, and then they hold, and you separate the seeds from the rest. And this is actually in that way you have actually prevented pollution by separating the pulp from the beans. And when we take up the naturally fermented, sun-dried coffee beans, then you're actually working with a very nearly clean product that does not produce fermentation pollution. The process works in batches, and we avoided most of the pollution by working with the whole coffee beans and reduced the use of water by 70 to 80%, and the wastewater is reduced by the same volume. And we see later in the next stage where we're going to mention something about water recycling energy source. There's no need of, we started on a very high technical input, but underway we toned it down. We tried to reduce the amount or the necessity of high technology and make it as low technology as possible, with the aim of enabling the farmers to process the beans without having to have high technical knowledge. This is a scheme of what we suggest the plant should fit in. You can see in the middle there of where the arrows are pointing, this is where the processing plant will be placed in the system there. And since it is a very low volumes of polluted water that we produce, you can use a root zone cleaning system, which will enable the water to be recycled and used again in the process there. What does this mean for the farmers? You can have cooperatives, coffee cooperatives, who can own a small processing plant, which they can learn to use, and at the moment fetch a higher price. Because what is the tendency at the moment is that the farmers, they're actually picking the cherries, most farmers picking the cherries, selling them, or drying them and then selling them. So you don't have any, they are never going to earn any money, because they're just selling the cherries without adding values to it.
1 minute.
Yeah, okay.
1 minute.
I'm sorry, I haven't spoken English for many years. Are there any questions? I hope I've tried to make you understand what the process is all about. Mm-hmm. But we need to set up some pilot plants. As mentioned, we've done about 40, 50, or what do you call it, trials with 100 kilograms. So it is time to go out to the coffee farmers and try on a very low level, try pilot plants as such. Yeah.
Yeah, please conclude. I can see you have another slide for conclusions, I think.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Go on. Don't worry about English, huh? We are French people here. So we put the bar very low in English, huh? So that's no problem.
Oh, English. I think we should make Spanish there. When we look at the natural treated coffees, we have done it with Arabica, with Robusta. Can it be used for Arabica, Liberica? Because it is a cheap process. Wet washing is expensive. Can the farmers, the smallholders, earn money by processing the coffees themselves? I don't have a few. Okay.
Okay, George, thank you so much. Thank you so much.